The moon is Earth's closest celestial neighbor. It circles our planet once every 27 days and has been doing so for billions of years. This makes the moon an extremely important part of life on Earth. But what if it suddenly disappeared from the sky? What would happen to our planet and its inhabitants? And more importantly, can we do anything to bring it back? Stay tuned until the end of this video to find out how humanity would survive in this apocalyptic scenario. First, let's answer the question many of you have already asked in the comments section. Can the moon really disappear? The answer is yes. There are several scenarios under which our satellite could vanish from the night sky. For example, scientists believe that about 50 million years ago, the Earth collided with another planet the size of Mars. As a result of the impact, our satellite formed, but it could have happened the other way around. The moon was a rogue celestial body that got too close to the Earth and was subsequently captured by its gravity. In this case, the moon isn't bound to our planet forever and could theoretically leave us at some point. It may be wandering around space right now, waiting for another star to take it away from us. But let's imagine that the moon disappears due to some other reason. For instance, a powerful explosion or disintegration after a collision with a comet. What consequences will such an event have for our planet? First, the moon's disappearance will lead to global chaos. Satellites orbiting our planet will lose their orientation and come crashing down to Earth. They won't just fall into oceans and forests. No, they'll crash into cities, causing large-scale destruction. Even those satellites that manage to remain in orbit will have a hard time functioning, since communication with ground-based stations will be impossible without the moon's reflection of sunlight. So even during the day, the whole world will be plunged into darkness. In addition, the tides will disappear, which means that many coastal cities will find themselves without drinking water. Plus, people living in regions with a temperate climate will have to endure not only scorching heat in summer, but also an extremely cold winter. Without the moon, the Earth's axis will shift, and summers will be twice as hot as they are now. At the same time, winters will become twice as cold, with temperatures dropping to 90 degrees Celsius. If you live in the northernmost regions of our planet, then you should consider moving somewhere else in the near future. Otherwise, your house will be buried under a thick layer of ice. By the way, the sun may become the reason for the moon's disappearance. Our star is slowly getting older, and one day it will expand beyond its current orbit, engulfing the Earth along with the moon. However, this apocalyptic scenario awaits us only in about 5 billion years. But let's get back to the present. Let's assume that the moon has just disappeared, leaving us in total darkness. Without advanced technology, people won't be able to survive even a couple of days. So let's see if we can do anything to fix this situation. Unfortunately, no. Even NASA won't be able to save us. Well, at least it won't do so anytime soon. The fact is that the space agency has no idea where the moon could have gone. It might be drifting aimlessly around the solar system, or perhaps it's already been devoured by some alien. The only thing NASA can do is send rovers to the moon's regular parking spot, hoping to find some debris there. But these robots will return empty-pocketed. The moon won't just evaporate into thin air. Scientists believe that after disintegration, its fragments will form a thin, dark belt around our planet. Some pieces will certainly fall to the Earth's surface, but they'll be so tiny that they'll look like fallen stars. What should people do in this situation? Of course, declare war on space and demand that the moon be returned. But who are we going to fight? A gang of rogue aliens? A cosmic corporation that uses moons for commercial purposes? Or maybe the moon itself has proclaimed independence, and now it's an extraterrestrial state that does not want to put up with being exploited by the Earthlings. Jokes aside, in the absence of the moon, humanity will be doomed. People won't be able to grow food crops. Plants need lunar light for photosynthesis. Also, all the devices that use the moon's energy will stop working. For example, lunar power plants that convert lunar energy into electricity will go down. In general, the disappearance of the moon will cause a global economic crisis, since many industries depend on energy produced by lunar power plants. By the way, when the moon disappeared from the sky, the stock markets would experience the greatest collapse in history. Investors would immediately start selling their assets and transferring their money to banks. But there's absolutely no point in that because the banking system will also collapse since all electronic systems will stop working. Lunar calendars will become invalid. Religious people will have a lot of questions for God, and clergy will have to work overtime explaining the true nature of the moon's disappearance. And most importantly, crime rates will skyrocket. After all, darkness is the perfect cover for all kinds of illegal activities. Only madmen and vampires will be happy about the moon's disappearance. Okay, let's imagine that despite all these problems, somehow humanity managed to survive. How would life on Earth change without the moon? First, animals would suffer. Many species need the moon for orientation. Confused animals will make their way into human settlements in search of a new habitat. Imagine a massive invasion of deer, foxes, and wolves into major cities. It would be real chaos. And don't forget about nocturnal predators. Tigers, leopards, and snakes will feel completely comfortable hunting in broad daylight. Also, insects and rodents will breed like crazy, and then they'll face no serious predators except us humans. But seeing the way things are going, I don't think anyone would want to adopt a pet tiger or python. Children will be very upset about the moon's disappearance. After all, they'll never see the most beautiful fairy tales in the sky. And of course, lovers will be disappointed. The moon has always served as a background for romantic dates. Now couples will have to hang out under some weird lamps emitting unpleasant light. The world's first artificial satellite was launched into space long before the moon disappeared. That's why it's still there. It's unlikely that NASA will be able to replace the moon with an artificial satellite because our satellite weighs over 80 billion tons. To lift something like that into space, we'd need a powerful space elevator. But even if we build it, we won't be able to ensure that the artificial moon orbits the Earth at a height of 384,400 kilometers. Let me remind you that this is exactly how far the moon is away from us. To maintain a stable orbit, the artificial moon will have to rotate around the Earth at a speed of 1.3 kilometers per second. If we make even a slight mistake in the calculations, our fake satellite will either fall to the planet or fly away into outer space. And here comes the most interesting part. Let's assume that humanity manages to build a space elevator and launch a replacement for the moon. Will it save us? Yes. The artificial satellite will reflect 7% of the sunlight, which will help restore the Earth's climate. But people will never accept this fake moon. You know, when the moon disappeared, everyone saw it with their own eyes. But no one can say what the fake moon would look like. Maybe it'll resemble a giant poker or a chess piece. Perhaps some smart alien decided to play a trick on us. By the way, the aliens could be behind the moon's disappearance as well. For them, it's a colony with useful minerals and an ideal place for summer vacation. If the aliens took the moon for their own needs, they could also take Earth. After all, humanity has proven more than once that it's quite capable of providing everything necessary for life: water, oxygen, a comfortable climate, forests, fields, gardens, and cows to eat. In short, we're like a ready-made set for survival. To prevent this, we need to get along with the aliens and ask them to return the moon. And we'll have to do this without any weapons. After all, the fact that the aliens were able to take the moon away means they're much more technologically advanced than us. Otherwise, how could they have lifted a celestial body weighing 80 billion tons? The only way out is to give the aliens something in return. Perhaps they liked our Earth so much that they decided to take the moon away for safekeeping. In this case, we need to offer them a compromise. Let's give them a small asteroid instead of the moon. I'm sure the aliens will appreciate this gift. Now check out what happens if the sun disappears, or watch another video.